There are still not stars in the sky, so I think I can still say Shabbat Shalom. We are delighted to be here this evening, this moment in gathering in community, an evening where we'll be invited to listen, to learn, and also to use our voices to participate, to really actively use our words as we prepare for this holiday season. We, generally speaking, Selichot happen on the Saturday night before the high holidays, but just so you know, Monday night is not Rosh Hashanah. Just so we're very clear, we're 10 days, and the reason for that is if we waited till next Saturday night, we wouldn't have enough time to prepare ourselves. And so on years when the high holidays begin on a Sunday night or a Monday night, we do the Saturday before them. And so we have this space because as Rabbi Alan Liu teaches us, the High Holy Day journey doesn't just begin with the shofar on Rosh Hashanah or the fast of Yom Kippur. It begins here, in the quiet of night, with sound, the whispered words of prayer, the swell of melody created together that rises and falls, the echo of familiar voices searching for forgiveness. These are not yet the blasts of the shofar, but they are the first notes of awakening, the overture to the sacred season ahead. Selichot asks us to come exactly as we are, unprepared, unsettled, maybe even resistant. And that's the actual point. We do not need to arrive perfected. We only need to be in this moment with hearts willing to listen, because it is the sounds of the night that will move us if we let them. For some, it's the ache of the melody that lingers after it ends, the sounds we only hear at this time of year. And for others, it's the silence in between the words, or the days as we approach Rosh Hashanah, the pause that makes for memory, for regret, and for hope. What stirs one heart may not stir another, but together these sounds we hear tonight remind us God's compassion is near, and the possibility of change is real. So tonight, we gather to cross a threshold. We let prayer and music crack open the surface of our lives. We let the various sounds of Selichot, the melodies old and new, move us towards honesty, towards reflection, introspection, and towards one another as we build the fabric of sacred community. It is a pleasure tonight to be joined by Rabbi Cantor Eyal Biton, Rabbi April Villarreal, Professor Natan, Dr. Professor Natan Meir. As our service leaders, the four of us will be leading various parts of every service throughout this holiday season. And so tonight, we come together to share not only the music of the season, but the intention behind it, and to invite you in as our partners in this work. Cantor Biton.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all here. It's beginning to look a lot like the high holidays are coming. And we're going to, typically we do a Selichot service. And years ago, so basically in my first year here, we tried to come up with some innovation. I think many synagogues across North America try to find some sort of innovation to make this service that used to be popular in olden times, whatever that means to some of us. There was always sort of an element of extra musicality to the service as well as spirituality. And what that means in 1930 is not what it means in 1970, and what happens in 1970 isn't always what it means in 2025. And so we have found ways to reinvent and make it relevant. And this day will be singing, but asking you to sing with us and teaching you some of these melodies. And some of them will be, as Rabbi Posen said, old and new, and some will be from the Ashkenazi tradition and some from a couple Sephardic traditions. And so I want to start, since we're talking about the idea of Selichot, I want to start with a particular text that is central to this section of prayer that deals with repentance and seeking forgiveness. If you are, some of you have the fully, what's it called, the booklets that are stapled in the center. If you have that one, it's the back page. If you don't, and you have the Machzor, please turn to page 229. Okay, let me find mine. Where's, okay, 229. So I will turn to page 229. Oh, did you get one? You got one? Okay, all right, sure. Hati here. 229. El Melech Yoshev. These are the 13 attributes. And Ashkenazim have different ways of singing it. There's a melody I heard in Montreal that was introduced by an English, meaning from Britain, an English choir conductor named Stephen Glass, who's well known in the Jewish musical world. And this is a traditional melody that he found somewhere, and he arranged it. It's beautiful. So the El Melech Yoshev al Kisei Rachamim, God sovereign who sits on a throne of mercy, acting with unbounded grace, forgiving the sins of your, I'm reading the translation in the Siddur, sorry, not the one here. Forgiving the sins of your people one by one as each comes before you, generously forgiving sinners and pardoning transgressors, acting charitably with every living thing. This is the heart of the idea of Selichot. And this text, it starts off with the recitative, this thing. El melech yoshev al kisei rachamim mitnaeg b'chasidut. Now, since you are lost in here, I'm going to, page 229, I'm starting with line 2. The third word, it says mochel avonot. If you are here on the last page, it's the third line, mochel avonot. And I'm going to sing it first, then I'm going to teach it to you. So I did chasidut, mochel avonot amo, mochel avonot amo. Ma'avir rishon, rishon, marbe mechila lechatayim u'slicha lefoshim. Isn't that a beautiful melody? Yeah. For now, sing this with me. La ra 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 but someone in the row 6 was singing a flat online. Mochel avonot now with the word. Da, 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 da. Mochel avonot amor, mochel. Together. Mochel avonot amo, mochel avonot amo, ma'avir rishon, rishon, marbe mechila lechatayim uslicha. Beautiful. And the same melody continues like this. Oh, there are different people that'll scan it differently. We're going to do this. Oseh tzedakot, oseh tzedakot, im kol basar varuach, lo cheratam tigmol. Let me repeat that line. Lo cheratam tigmol. We're on page 229 in your machzor. Again, 229 on the machzor, towards the top of the page. Let's do it from Oseh Tzedakot, 5th line again. Oseh Tzedakot, 3, 4. Oseh Tzedakot, Oseh Tzedakot, im kol basar varuach, lo cheratam tigmol. Same words. Lo cheratam tigmol. Beautiful. From the beginning. I think it's from the, if you're an NC, from the mochel avonot words. Mochel avonot amo. If you're in the Siddur again, 2nd line, 3rd word. If you're in the pamphlet, the brochure, the booklet, 3rd line. Bari, mochel avonot, 3, 4. Mochel avonot amo, mochel avonot amo, ma'avir rishon, rishon, marbe mechila lechatayim uslicha lefoshim. Oseh tzedakot, oseh tzedakot, im kol basar varuach, lo cheratam tigmol, lo cheratam tigmol. On the high holidays, I will, on Yom Kippur, and Erev Yom Kippur, we'll sing this. And that melody, I do a B section after that, and I come back to it with other words. We'll leave that Vayered Adonai a few lines later, but I trust that you'll pick it up. I wanted to say a word about my personal tradition growing up. Moroccan, we sing this text slightly differently. The text is a little different, but the musicality of it is entirely different. The purpose is not to make the Moroccan idea is not, comes from, I think prayer drives it first rather than making the text beautiful. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a moment. I'll show you what it is right now, just to give you an idea. And you hear the entire congregation singing with great ruach, and I'm not going to teach the congregation to do this. But it's this. El melech yoshev al kisei rachamim uminayeg b'chasidut mochel avonot amo ma'avir rishon rishon mar b'mechila lechatayim usicha lefoshim oseh tzedakot kol basar varuach lo cheratam lahem tigmol da 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 pa bum pa pa, and you get everybody going da da na 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 na. We're praying, we're praying, we're praying. Please God, listen to us. And it comes from right here. And when you hear hundreds and hundreds of people singing it, it's beautiful. So from the point of view, there's something beautiful about that. And this melody here is melodically conveys this idea of searching for repentance and forgiveness, I think, better, even though the other one speaks to me at a different level. Da, da, dee, 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 dee. So I really hope you sing along with me. It might be given, part of it might be a kid's solo on Erev Yom Kippur. Let them have a moment and then join in after, okay? But when I sing it, please sing out fully. At this time, I'm going to invite to the Amud Rabbi April Villarreal to teach us as well and share some of her melodies. Thank you. All right. This is my pleasure. This is on your way.
Thank you, Rabbi Cantor. Hi, friends. Shabbat Shalom. It really is wonderful to hear about the stories and the experiences that are connected to Selichot. It's one of those parts of liturgy that it doesn't live in the abstract. It doesn't live in the theoretical. It really lives in our experiences. And so I wanted to start just with a bit of a history. Part of my family is from the Sephardi community in the Caribbean. And one of the most beloved melodies, it's actually not one we're going to do this evening, but one of them, the story goes that in the dawn hours, or pre-dawn hours, because in Sephardic tradition, the Selichot are done before dawn, all the way at the beginning of Elul, 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. And that in order to wake the men up to go to synagogue, the mothers and wives would get up and sing through the house as the shamash, the person who opened up the synagogue, was singing it in the streets, would sing, Selichot, senores, Selichot, because these are all Portuguese speakers in the Caribbean. Selichot, senores, Selichot. And if you go to even to New York in the Spanish and Portuguese synagogue, that melody is still sung to the Amidah in the Kiddusha, in that main part of the morning Amidah, in honor of that memory and that experience. Is that story true? I have no idea, but it's lovely. That's the one it was told to me, so it's true in that level. But in honor of that, I actually wanted to start this selection of melodies with some words from somebody who I am just deeply infatuated with her and her work from the Spanish and Portuguese community, the great poet Emma Lazarus, who writes the following about reflection and repentance and forgiveness. She writes in a poem called Sympathy, "Therefore I dare reveal my private woe, the secret blots of my imperfect heart, nor strive to shrink or swell mine own desert, nor beautify nor hide, for this I know, that even as I am, thou also art." And there's something about this time period where we're very vulnerable. We're not trying to put on a show that none of us have anything to say sorry for or to be forgiven for. We know that we do, and that's the work that we are doing together. And so in that spirit of vulnerability and being together to find our way, we're going to look at a beautiful introduction to Selichot, which is on this page. Actually, the pages are not numbered. So if you have the booklet here, this is the first set, and you turn the page, and you'll see selected Sephardic Selichot and Piyutim, and we're looking at number 1. And I'm going to sing it for us, and then I'll teach it line by line. But it begins with a line from the book of Daniel, actually, acknowledging, right, that we have things to confront and address as we approach the high holidays. So it goes like this, and again, I'll sing it through for us, and then we'll learn it line by line. Lecha Adonai atzedaka velanu boshet hapanim ma nitonenu ma nomar ma nedaber u'ma nitztadak nach besadrachenu v'nachkora v'nashuva elecha ki yaminecha feshuta lekabel. So the melody you'll hear goes from sort of a sad tone into a brighter one, and that's kind of the message of many of these, that there are things that we need to say sorry for. There are things that we should feel, I ought not have done that. But as we name those things and as we pull them out, so to speak, and hold them in front of ourselves, we also get the chance to see what's left here that's looking at those things. And oftentimes, those are our glowing qualities. Those are the things that are so positive about us with which we can confront the things that we need to grow and evolve through. So in this case, this piyut starts with saying we have no justification for the things that we've done in terms of the ways that we've gone wrong, but in the end, we have the ability to reflect and examine and look at ourselves, and we can always make the choice to choose a new direction. So that's what's happening here. So let's learn it line by line. So the first one goes as follows. We'll do just the melody first. So I'll sing it, and then we'll sing it together. So let's do that one together. Beautiful. So let's add the words now. Lecha Adonai atzedaka velanu boshet hapanim. Beautiful. So the next one is pretty similar. It just starts up a little bit higher. So I'll sing it, just the melody first, and then we'll sing it together, and then we'll add the words. Da 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 da. So together. Great, now I will add the words. Manitonenu manomar, manidaberu manitzadak. And then it continues, the same melody, just different words. So let's go together. Nach besadrachenu venakora, venashuva elecha. Keep going. Ki yaminecha feshuta. We'll pause here. And the ending is lekabel shavim. So now let's sing it all the way through, and we can keep in mind this beautiful message as well of naming what we have to name about things that we need to grow through and develop and grow past this year, but also recognizing the personal capacities that we have to do that. So we'll sing it all the way through now. Lecha Adonai atzedaka velanu boshet hapanim manitonenu manomar manedaberu manitzadak nach besadrachenu venakora venashuva elecha ki yaminecha feshuta lekabel shavim. Beautiful. Well done. I have good news. The very next entry I put in here because it uses precisely the same melody. And you find that in Sephardic tradition where there are these motifs, there are these musical motifs that occur over and over and over again, carrying the messages of each poem into one another because they're connected musically. This next one was written by Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, who was perhaps the greatest Hebrew poet that ever lived, from the golden age of Spain, the 11th and 12th centuries, where just the proliferation of beautiful poetry that was happening is unparalleled. I think perhaps until sort of modern Hebrew poetry. But there's sort of one line that gets, I think, to, again, the same theme that we saw in the first one, sort of expressed in a different way that is really quite stirring. So if you look in the third line, it says, Am nivdal holech vadal v'sicho holech varam. He says, we are this people that is separate, and if we find ourselves descending further down, right, as we think about, again, maybe where we've gone wrong this year, or things that we need to do teshuvah for and make up for, he says, if we find ourselves feeling descending, just know that our song and our words can rise higher and higher. And so again, there's this beautiful message of there's something positive that always remains, and that as we confront difficult things, there is that beautiful, glowing positivity in us that can pull us forward. So this is Yedei Rashim. And you'll notice that the last line of each stanza is italicized, because traditionally the way that this was done was that different congregants would take turns reading the stanzas, and then everybody joins together for the verse. So let's practice that verse together. L'hakdish et kadosh Yaakov et Elohei Yisrael is what it is in Hebrew. And again, it's that same melody. I'll sing it, and then we'll sing it together. L'hakdish et kadosh Yaakov et Elohei Yisrael. So that is where everybody will join in. So we'll sing that together. L'hakdish et kadosh Yaakov et Elohei Yisrael. So I want to invite people to sing along with me for the whole song, but if that feels too overwhelming, please just join in that italicized portion, and we're going to sing through these two stanzas. So we'll begin again, number 2, Yedei Rashim on this page. Yedei Rashim, Nechel Rashim, Me'asi Yedei Chofram, Aval Berucham, Umar Sicham, Yekademu et Penei Yotzram, Gam Nivdal Olech Madal, Vasicho Olech Maram, Vahivang Adam, Bevet Mong Adam, Uvigronam Romemot El, Lehakdish Kedosh Yaakov et Elohei Yisrael. Elohim Saf Tevir Vasaf, Ve'enefod Uterafim, Ufarochet Umarechet, Utmidim Umusafim, Va'enketoret Vechapaoret, Lechaper Nal Nigafim, Kedushat El Be'Yisrael, Le'idamot Nisrafim, Umengon Yam Be'vet Shivyam, Le'odot El Nesafim, Umechayil Chayil, Yelechu B'nei Yisrael, Le'hakdish Kedosh Yaakov et Elohei Yisrael. Thank you so much. I'm going to invite now the good Dr. Professor Natan Meir for our next selections.
Is it Shabbat Shalom or Shavua Tov now? Shabbat Shalom. It's a little strange for me to be standing here tonight for this particular role, because on the high holidays, all I do is sing. I don't have to say anything. And when I get up in front of a class, all I do is talk. I don't have to sing anything. So, but this is actually a real pleasure and an honor to be in this company. And I decided to do something a little bit different from my colleagues, because, well, I'm not really sure why, but there's a nigun that I've been listening to. Nigun is usually a wordless melody, although sometimes it is set to words. And there is a nigun by a wonderful presence in the Jewish musical world and in the world of Jewish learning, Deborah Sachs-Mintz, cantor Deborah Sachs-Mintz. Some of you may be familiar with her music. Actually, I'm just curious, who is familiar with Deborah Sachs-Mintz? Anyone? Okay, a few people are. If you're not, then you should definitely go home and look her up. She's composed some really beautiful nigunim. And so this is basically a new nigun. It's not really one that we would find in the Ashkenazic tradition, except for that it is very much within the tradition of Ashkenazic music, of East European music. I'm not an expert on music, so I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly how, but the mode is Ashkenazic, and you'll probably hear it as well. So actually, I thought it would be nice to look at the words that this nigun is set to. The reason it's connected to the high holidays is because cantor Sachs-Mintz uses this for some of the tefillot, some of the prayers during the high holidays, as I will in the service that I'm going to be leading with Rabbi Villarreal. Those of you who were there with me last year may remember a memorable moment when I got up and I intended to sing something to this nigun, and I couldn't remember it. And then, so I moved on eventually to something else, and then at the very end of the service, I got up and I said, I remembered it! So, I have it now. It's here. At least for the moment. Anyway, so it's the inside cover of your booklet. So you can't really miss, because this is in like 32 point font. It's called Makom Bina. And this is from Job. How often do you hear someone say, we're going to sing Job? Right? I mean, it's not exactly the most uplifting of books. But yes, this is from Job 28. The two lines are actually not contiguous in the original, and the entire chapter in Job, chapter 28, is really about the larger theme is all of the things that human beings can do and the ways in which they can gain control over the earth, and mostly about kind of mining various metals. So it's a theme of human mastery, and yet in the middle there comes this question: wisdom, where can it be found? Where is the place of true knowledge? And then ultimately the answer is the fear of Adonai, that is wisdom. To shun evil, that is true knowledge. So although we may think that we are masters of the earth, this chapter is saying, in reality, when it comes down to true wisdom and knowledge, even though sometimes humans think they know everything, in reality, we need to turn to God. And we need to turn to right living, which is what we're doing during this penitential season. We're turning and trying to determine where we can seek what is most true in our lives, what will resonate as truth, as wisdom, as knowledge. And the fear here, of course, it's yirah, so it's not fear as in maybe quaking, but I'm not afraid of, but as in reverence and awe of God. So let's turn away from the text for a few minutes, and I'll try to teach you the nigun, and then we can try to set the text to the nigun. And I think it's fairly easy to learn, but I guess you'll have to tell me. And it starts like this. So there's two parts to it, and it starts like this. La 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 la. Maybe I'll just sing the whole thing through, and then we can start with that. La 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 la. La 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 la. 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 So that's part one, okay? So we'll just do it piece by piece. Na 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 again. Na 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 na. The next piece is na 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 na. Na 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 na. So let's do those two together. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Okay, great. That sounds wonderful. Now the next piece goes na 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 na. Na 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 na. One more time. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. There's some flats or sharps in there or something like that. Something like that. Let me see if I can get back to that because it's a difficult one to do on its own. Na 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 na. Sorry, that one of those notes is very low for me, but that's how I have to do it. Then we go na 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 na. It will come, I promise. Okay. So let's do it again from the beginning. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. More or less. All right, you ready for the next piece? Part two? It's gonna go high. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Now that's easier than part one, isn't it? It's basically just the kind of the same sequence or something like that. Should we do it one more time? Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Okay, now with the words. Okay. We'll read the words together. And I put them in transliteration too for those whose Hebrew reading is not where they would like it to be yet. Okay. Ve'hachochma me'ain timatzeh ve'eze mekom bina hen yirat Adonai hi chochma ve'sur mera bina. Except for in the way that it scans, we have to say Vesur twice. So we say Vesur, Vesur, Merabina. Okay? You ready? Ve'hachochma me'ayin timatzeh ve'eze makom bina ve'hachochma me'ayin timatzeh ve'eze mekom bina איזה מקום בינה. הן יראת אדוני היא חוכמה, וסור וסור מרבינה. הן יראת אדוני היא חוכמה, וסור וסור מרבינה. והחוכמה מאין תימצא, ואיזה מקום בינה. והחוכמה מאין תימצא, ואיזה מקום בינה. איזה מקום בינה. הן יראת אדוני היא חוכמה, וסור וסור מרבינה. הן יראת אדוני היא חוכמה, וסור וסור מרבינה. Let's do it once without the words. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na na na. Ya na 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 na. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natan. Nigunim can be very simple. La la ya da 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 la ya la ya da 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 da, Carla Bach style. And I found that even though this was not full of accidentals and left and right and all that, it was a sophisticated nigun. So good on you for getting it right. An amazing teacher to help you along. We're going to invite back Rabbi April Villarreal.
One of the things that, in terms of the structure of the Selichot, that really raises up that vulnerability is there are all of these moments for call and response. And it's kind of like doing a trust fall. It's like you fall backwards and you just trust that someone's going to be there to catch you. And we kind of already did that a little bit where, somebody is singing the stanza, and when they get to that, chorus, they just hope everybody's going to show up to join and sing with them. And there are many moments like that in traditional Selichot, and we're going to look at one now. And this is Anenu. So this is back to that selected Sephardic Selichot in Piyutim. This is number 3, Anenu. And it's got a really lovely structure in which a different person in the community, in the kahal, will recite and chant the line, and then the whole congregation repeats it back, and they do that together. And just to make a note a little bit about the words themselves, it really highlights, you see it's Anenu, answer us, Elohei Avraham, the God of Abraham, answer us, Ufachad Yitzchak, right, the being that Isaac revered, Anenu Avir Yaakov, the strong one of Jacob, Magen David, the shield of David. And it really, what it underscores for us is that we all have different and unique relationships with God. That was true for our biblical ancestors, and that's true also for us. And so as we move through the course of preparation for the high holidays, we kind of get this invitation to think about what that unique relationship was. Did it look like one of our biblical ancestors? Does it look different? And it's a chance to think about that as we sing together. So I'm going to sing just a few, and then if there are any courageous souls that want to try to be the person to chant a line, and then we'll all join in and repeat it back. So be thinking about that as I chant this. So it's a very repetitive melody, fairly straightforward to learn, and it goes like this. Ganenu Elohei Avraham, Ganenu, Ganenu Elohei sounds like some of you might know this melody, or you've just picked it up very quickly, which is fantastic on either count. Do I have anybody that would be willing to sing any of these lines as we move through? Aneinu ufachad Yitzchak, Aneinu. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, right. Aneinu Abir Yaakov, Aneinu. Two brave souls. Not bad. I'm going to do the next one. Aneinu Magen David, Aneinu, Aneinu Magen David, Aneinu, Aneinu Angone Benget Ratzon, Aneinu, Aneinu Angone Ratzon, Aneinu, Aneinu, Angone Bengitzara, Aneinu, Aneinu, Angone Bengitzara, Aneinu, Aneinu, Angone Bengidrachamim, Aneinu. Aneinu Elohei Merkava, Aneinu, Aneinu Elohei Merkava, Aneinu, Aneinu Rahum Vechanun, Aneinu, Aneinu Rahum Vechanun, That's beautiful. Yasher kochachem. I hope you feel good about that. That was really lovely. So there is this back and forth, and again, we hold each other, right? Liturgically, we are presence for one another to support each other, right, throughout this season. And this call and response is a really beautiful musical way that we demonstrate that. At the end, really, it's almost the last thing that is said in the Sephardi Selichot is the Shomer Yisrael. And as we kind of talked about in the beginning, there is this real kind of acknowledgement, again, maybe the hard things that we need to confront during the season, but then we do that, right, in light of, right, these central kind of qualities that we have to confront those things. And by the time we get to the end, there really isn't a mention anymore of sort of that critical voice. And what we're left with is, these are the things that we say every day, these are the things that we declare every day. And I think that that's an invitation to think about what are the things that we do every day to constantly build and become the people that we want to be. And related to that, just to go back to a comment that the Rabbi Cantor Biton talked about with the 13 attributes of God's mercies. It's a fascinating passage in the Talmud that God says, listen, if you perform these 13 attributes in front of me, you'll never be turned away empty-handed. So there was a remarkable rabbi, the Al-Sheikh, Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh from Turkey, who said, you know, there's a problem with that because many people have prayed these 13 attributes. They've uttered them in their prayers and in their selichot and poured their soul into it, and nothing changed in their life. He says, just we have to objectively, deal with that. And he says, but that caused me to look back at the passage in the Talmud. And what did the passage in the Talmud say? God tells the people, Asu lefanai keseder hazeh, right? Perform this order of attributes before me, and you will not turn away empty-handed. He says, notice it says, Asu lefanai, do these things before me. Not say them, not recite them, not have them be some formula, but if we really somehow learn to internalize these qualities of compassion, of mercy, of patience, of love, then we don't get turned away empty-handed, right? Because we transform ourselves and we transform the world at the same time. So thinking about this final passage, it's a chance to think about the things that we do, right? These wonderful prayers are wonderful ways to activate the things that we really want to do in our lives, both during this season and throughout the rest of the year. So this is a melody. I'm going to sing it for us, and then we'll learn it like we did the other one, and we'll sing together. But I'll start. And I believe some of you know this melody because I believe the cantor taught the melody. It's very close to this one. So it goes like this. Shomer Yisrael, Shemor Sherit Yisrael, Me'ayovad Yisrael, Angomrim B'chayom, Shema Yisrael. So we'll learn the first part together, which is da 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 ya da da ya da 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 da. Let's do that together. Ya da 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 da. Repeats. Da 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 da. Then goes up. Da 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 da. And then it ends with da 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 ya da 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 da. Do it together. Da 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 da. And if that actually is the phrase that you can really sort of stick with, you'll notice again that the final words are italicized. It's that melody that is to those final phrases. That's really where everybody joins in. So we'll sing it together and pick up as we go along. So we'll go from the beginning. Shomer Yisrael, Shemor She'erit Yisrael, Be'al Yovad Yisrael, Haomrim B'choyom, Shema Yisrael. Shomer Koy Echad, Shemor She'erit Koy Echad, Be'al Yovad Koy Echad, Haomrim B'choyom, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shomer Goy Kadosh, Shemo She'eri Goy Kadosh, Le'al Yovan Goy Kadosh, Haomrim B'choyom, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Shomer Goy Rabba, Shemor She'eri Goy Rabba, Be'al Yovan Goy Rabba, Haomrim B'choyom, Amen Yeshamer Rabba. Chizku v'imsu yasher kochachem. Thank you so much.
They do know that one, yes, I told. So how do you know that melody? Do you remember where you know it from? That I do it every Rosh Hashanah, every Kippur. I don't, no, I do it on Rosh Hashanah. Does anyone know where a million points of nothing, if you can answer that question. Where do I do that melody? Adonai bekol shofar, shofar yashmiya, Yeshua, Yeshua. I created a call and response so that you could participate, but traditionally there's no, everyone sings that part. Ala Elohim bitrua. And you do the same melody to that text too? Yeah. Awesome. If you remember Rabbi April's first melody, one of the first melodies that you did, it ended in a funny way. Did you notice that? Yes. That's Sephardic, very typical of, it's hard to paint with one brush. All Ashkenazi melodies do this, no. But there's great variety. But what's very typical of many Sephardic melodies is to end on the third. So an Ashkenazi melody, a very Western European melody will go, if it's major, la 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 ra 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 ra, and Sephardim will go, ra 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 ra. Now I'm done, right? So that's a bit of why that was happening. Just FYI. Another FYI, the melody that, the text that Rabbi April And sorry, I'm focusing a lot on that because it's also, I grew up with these melodies, it's nice in the texts, and they're powerful ones. Yedei Rashim, that she did, we do a different, Moroccans have a different melody, but the same approach. Congregant does one stanza, and the congregation responds. Lehagdish et Kedosh Yaakov. But why I want to point it out, it's just a moment of self-indulgence for a moment. It's not in your Sidurim, but I have the Yehuda Halevi poem here, and one stanza, two stanzas, three stanzas, and the fourth stanza goes like this, in the Moroccan way. And tell me if you understand why I picked it. Deror yuksha, deror dorsha, mizedonim umeadonim, eyalutamish. Did you catch that? That's where my name comes from. It comes from there, and in that context, in Hebrew, modern Hebrew, eyal means a ram, an animal. In this context, poetic version means God's strength. And so that's where that comes from. Now, let's go to other texts, the stuff that I actually wanted to do. And the Anenu that you did also is very popular in Israel, right? I believe so. Anenu, yeah. If you go to Selichot at the Kotel, they do all kinds of melodies, which we're going to do in a moment, one of them. But you'll also hear that, which is really lovely. So take a look at, what did I want to do? Let's look at, in here, the second page. So a page after Makom Bina, after Natan's Nigun, the Deborah Sachs Mintz one. Hu HaElohim, Adonai Hu HaElohim. This is part of the Sephardic Selichot. Adonai. So the Chazan will sing, Elei ma'ala omerim, Adonai Adonenu b'chirei segula, onim omerim Adonai hu Elohim. And the congregation goes, Adonai hu Elohim, Adonai hu Elohim. You've heard me end Yom Kippur with that text at the end. I don't do the whole piyut, but this is where it's from. So try this again. Adonai hu Elohim, Adonai hu Elohim. Again, two more times until it's a little in there. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-dum. Adonai hu Elohim, Adonai hu Elohim. Gal leimala omerim, Adonai Adonenu degule segula, onim omerim Adonai hu Elohim, Adonai hu Elohim, Adonai. Hammonei mala omerim, Adonai Adonenu, Israel betzaratam uvgalutam, onim omerim Adonai hu Elohim. As loud as you can. Adonai hu Elohim, Adonai hu Elohim, Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch leolam vaed. Again, Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch leolam vaed. בטרם שחקים וערקים נמתחו, אדוני מלך, ועד לא מאורות זרחו, אדוני מלך. והארץ כבגד תבלה, ושמיים כי עשנים לחו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Yasher Koach, Hazakim Buchim, you've been converted. Just want you to know that's not what happened. Let's look at Adonai Selichot. This is what I wanted. So Adonai Selichot in your brochure should be, if you have this, it should be in the back. If it's not a booklet, if it's a booklet, it's the second to last page, I believe. You see it? So if you do this, if you're on this page, you turn back. Let's just there. Okay? Good? No? Okay. And yes, the what? Yes, the copy machine decided yesterday. I put print 70 of these, and we got to the synagogue after services and saw that a whole bunch were mangled and all that. So I don't know how many got printed correctly. And as Rabbi Posen, slicha, sorry. But if enough of you have it, that's good. That's very good. This is the central piyut of the Selichot service for Sephardim. And they're all related. All the Adonai Selichot melodies that you get out there that have slight variations are from the same melody, which shows its antiquity. Well, I would say from pre-Inquisition Spain. So let's just, if you know it already, sing with me. If you don't, you'll learn it. Adonai Selichot bochen levavot gole amukot dover tzedakot chatanu lefanecha rachem alenu hadur beniflaot vatik b'nehamot zocher berit avot hoker kelayot hatanu lefanecha rachem alenu tov umetiv laberiot yodea kol nistarot kovesh avonot lovesh tzedakot hatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. Pause. If you, again, I said, check out videos of the Kotel for Selichot. It is so moving to see thousands and thousands of people there singing these melodies and other melodies, but you'll get everyone doing this, and it's powerful and beautiful. And I want to sing to you the way it was taught to me in my synagogue. Our synagogue was full of French Moroccans, and the melody, I don't know if you'll hear the difference, but it goes like this. Adon ha-selichot bochen levavot gol ne'amukot dover tzedakot hatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. Does it sound the same? It sounds virtually the same. It's the same melody. So rachem aleinu, whereas the popular ones Rachem aleinu, very much tomato, tomato. Or if you're from England, tomato, tomato. Okay. So let's do that first verse in the popular way one last time. Adonai Selichot bochen levavot gole amukot dover tzedakot hatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu. Beautiful. And I in the main sanctuary, I have copies that I send out. I leave on everyone's chair or at the front for you to follow with. Yes. To this. Nice. And I bet it's rhythmic, right? There's this meme. There's some memes out there on social media which will show Selichot the Ashkenazi way. And then the Sephardic one, it's a disco. Like that. There's truth to both of that, and both are actually very beautiful. It's not one is the right way. Both are very beautiful. These older melodies, the newer melodies, like Natan was showing us, that can also speak to your soul, and that are, again, Ashkenazi, or the Sephardic ones, of the different traditions. They're all beautiful. And I think we were trying this evening to expose you to both. And also, we intend on bringing these melodies into the service. Not all of them. Here, I did, Adonai, Adonai Melech, Adonai. There's no text for that, and I'm not applying it. But most of the other ones, yes. So I hope you bring your voices on the high holidays. And speaking of bringing, we'd like to bring Rabbi Posen back to the Amud.
I'm humbled. I lead with this phenomenal group of clergy, of leaders, of daveners, and with all of your voices. I hope that tonight was an opportunity to learn some new melodies, but also some of the why behind it. I often come to services and hear people say, that's not the melody for that prayer. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, I was teaching a class where I made the comment that, when we think of Selichot, we think of the Yashamnu, and the comment is that if you think of the melody when we get ready, it's ay, 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 ay. I was terrible. Right? And someone said, well, why don't you change it? And I was like, well, I want to keep my job. Because it is the music, it is the melody, and we so often have the melodies of our childhood or of the first moment we heard them that stick in our heads and in our hearts as what is the meaning for the season. And yet, we have a diversity of leaders of our services and a diversity of members in our congregation. And sometimes Selichot, being able to do the work of the season of repentance, is being uncomfortable. It is learning something new or finding the same words in a new meaning in that space. And that is what we open our hearts to, and hopefully our ears to, and the gentleness to our leaders who may do new melodies that can become old melodies. And the truth is, very few, well, Natan, you brought her melodies in, but most of these melodies are not old, and new melodies become old melodies only because they've been done multiple times, right? And that is the truth of Judaism.